Hello, October Panic Attack YouTube page. This is Dante, and happy Halloween 2013. I hope you guys are having an amazing season so far, and that you're enjoying the fall weather as it is here, and that you're just enjoying times with your friends, your family, yourself, whatever, that you are taking advantage of all of the awesomeness of the month of October. Folks, I'd like to talk to you about Lulu's House of Horrors. Lulu's House of Horrors is in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Actually, I think one of the only attractions in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Um, and it actually takes place on Shriner's property. They have circuses there. They have lots of events there, murder mystery dinners, lots of different events here. And the staff at this haunted attraction is volunteer. They work for the Shriners. They are Shriners, and this is a very unique haunted house in that it really has an old school type vibe. If you can look at our reviews from previous years, you will see that we have been to this place for a good number of years now, and they are always something unique, always something strange and special at the same time. For this year, 2013, they have changed some things. They've added some things. They have this core, and then they will change things within and around that core. This is a really unique haunt in that there's definitely repeat value here, just because there are certain things you just want to have repeated because it's so interesting. But at the same time, they change things. They'll change subtle things. They'll add pieces. They'll take away pieces. The changes are really interesting here, where they'll change scenes. They will add. It seems like they add steps, or the steps are steeper, or the way to get into a room is different. They'll change a lot of different things in here. Very subtle sometimes, but very effective. This is Lulu's House of Horrors, and these guys are really unique in that it's one of those attractions that, you know, you go from one to the next to the next to the next to the next, and I think it's the only attraction I've ever been in my entire life where you take two different hay rides that are separate from each other, and the hay ride is actually to get to the haunted house, and then to get back from the haunted house you have to take the hay ride back on a totally different experience. So it's very interesting in how they work that. Now, this is an attraction that, as I spoke to the owner afterwards, he mentioned to me, you know, make sure you get here on a Friday or Saturday night, because that's when they have the most actors. I did not know that. We went on a Sunday night. It was still great. But he said the original actors and all of the actors will be there on Friday and Saturday nights. So these guys are open until the first weekend in November, so you really want to make sure that you get out there. And from their lines can be up and down, meaning some nights the lines can be 2 hours long, and then other nights not so much. I recommend that you get here on time. I mean, you might not necessarily have to get here 2 hours before opening or 1 hour before opening, but get here on time. Don't get here too late. But at the same time, you know, if you do get here a little late, the line might be long, but not too long. And they have entertainment in the line from these two, I believe, twin brother magicians who are also clowns for the Shriners. And these guys are very entertaining and very, almost a little bit edgy and naughty at the same time. These guys are awesome. I think it's Flunky and Dunky or something. I forget their names. But these are great guys. They wear white top hats and white suits. They're just wild, awesome inline entertainment. And there's an overall vibe about this entire place that you will not experience anywhere else. You know, this is the only haunt that I know of where every actor is older. You know, typical haunts, what do you got? Teenagers and, you know, people in, you know, 18 years old, 19 years old, and a couple older people, right? This place, there are no young people acting here, okay? These are older people acting here. Shriner, they work for Shriners, but they're older. I mean, these are the oldest actors I've ever seen in a haunt, and that will give you a spooky, creepy, weird vibe that you won't get anywhere else, okay? You won't get it anywhere else. And you have a lot of different these tiny attractions here. You have the hay ride there, then you have this cemetery walk, then you have the actual haunted house, which is a real built house that they do this in, that is just reserved for this haunted house every year. And then you get the hayride back, and then you get a maze through, looks like cattle fences or something. So you get all those mini attractions in this, and you're going to see some things in here. You're going to see some animatronics in here. You're going to see the way the actors act in here in ways that, you know, you might not typically see in a haunted house. You know, this is an old school haunted house, which means that it's creepy, it's weird, it's spooky, it's funny, it's WTF. Okay, these guys make their own stuff. These guys try out their own things. These guys love haunted houses. Okay, but at the same time, they really have an old school vibe about it. Okay, Lulu's House of Horrors is for those people who want to have a good time, who want to experience something different, who want to experience some weirdness, some bizarreness, some real atmosphere, and have a blast at it. Okay, they have a cemetery scene that is pretty atmospheric, folks. The house is very atmospheric, very winding, lots of steps, weird corridors, very bizarre with the lighting and the sounds and the scenes. There's this movie called Haunted Ween from the late 80s, early 90s, and it takes place on Halloween in a haunted house. That haunted house almost reminds me of Lulu's House of Horrors in some ways. That old school type vibe with scenes and with actors kind of in corners, and the actors are in black, and sometimes black dresses, and kind of old school haunted house, mystical and creepy and spooky, and you know, the actors in the cemetery. I mean, some of the, I don't want to give away things in the cemetery, but you're going to see some things in the cemetery that you might not have seen since, you know, Michael Jackson's Thriller video, okay? There's some really, really unique things that they're doing there. And the music is really cool on the hayride, and the music inside the haunted house is really cool. You know, we did a set of commercials for these guys this year, and you can see them on this YouTube page. You can also see a couple of them on their Facebook page, I believe. And we did about, I believe, 7 or 8 of them. And you can get the vibe in the commercials of what Lulu's House of Horrors is like. Old school, creepy, spooky, weird atmosphere. And you will see a group of actors in those videos that you will see at the haunt, especially if you go on Friday or Saturday night. And these actors are older, and it adds a completely different vibe to the proceedings, folks, because, you know, when's the last time that you know, had actors that old in a haunt? It's going to really bring a different type of idea to this. Even the hayride itself is unique. I mean, the guys that are loading you onto the hayride are smoking cigars. I mean, it's a really, really interesting vibe. Now, I also want to say, you might want to bring some earplugs for the hayride. That's all I'm going to say. One of the loudest noises I've ever heard, hands down, on any hayride in my entire life, on Lulu's House of Horrors hayride. It's pretty intense, and a couple of my friends thought they couldn't hear for a little while afterwards. So just a little bit of a heads up there. I actually had a friend come on, I believe it was 2 years ago, who's an audiologist, you know, works with ears and everything, and after the hayride, she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's not right. That's not right. They should give a warning about that." So just a heads up on that, folks. Lulu House of Horrors, they don't play on their hayride with one particular sound. So the weird, the unusual, the creepy, awesomely weird animatronics, awesomely weird hallways in the house, awesome effects and spooky atmosphere for the cemetery, scary actors in the cemetery and in the haunted house, very old school vibe. You know, a kind of a weird short maze at the end of the night that's atmospheric as well. The hay rides are very interesting through these dark wooded areas, with some cool effects in there as well, and some interesting atmospheres and things that are happening. Black capes are something that are big, and there's definitely a control center in this haunted house that is rigging up things around you. Do you want something different? Do you want something homemade, old school? Do you want something weird? Do you want a different vibe? Then you want Lulu's House of Horrors. Lulu's House of Horrors is open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights all the way to the first weekend in November. Friday and Saturday nights are going to be your best bet to get all the actors. There's a great carnival atmosphere there. There's a volunteer DJ there who's spinning some horror sounds and banjo music. It's a really, really weird vibe of a place. Say hi to the two twin magicians who are also clowns. Some interesting corn dogs and the food area. You can get a Lulu sweatshirt. From one of our videos, you see that if you wear their sweatshirt, you do in fact get possessed. So folks, Lulu's House of Horrors, thank you, Lulu. And happy Halloween, everyone, 2013. If you were at Lulu's last year, you got to go again because they changed stuff up, and I think you're going to appreciate it. I know we did. Have a blast. We had a blast here on Sunday night. Folks, happy Halloween 2013. Thank you, Lulu's.